Welcome back, traders. Coach Carver here, and in today's video I'm going to be breaking down a trade that I took earlier this week and I called out into my free signals chat, and I'm going to be showing you exactly the strategy behind it and why I went all in with this trade. I'll be breaking down to you guys a little bit about the difference between institutional traders and retail traders. I'm going to show you how my strategy works with this proprietary software. So let's go ahead, let's jump into it. Don't forget to smash that like button, go ahead and subscribe for future content, and let's go ahead and jump into the video. All right guys, so here we are, we're on the Manara platform, and on Tuesday I was going through the monitor section looking for trades that are getting ready to activate or just previously activated, and I came across this Euro Swiss trade. This is the European dollar and the Swiss franc, and I saw it was right around this point up here that it had activated. We were in a little bit of drawdown, and I was waiting for that confirmation and that microstructure for price to really be pushing down before I went ahead and called this in my free signals chat, right? So if you take a look here, I called it out on Tuesday around 10:42 p.m. right? So here we have it. Price was just coming down. Our entry was 1.07530. So we got in just around here, right? Little midway in the initial drop, and we got a pretty clean entry. You can see that it went ahead the actual pattern here on Manara. It gives us the stop loss, target 1, target 2. And what I want to do is I want to break down why I liked this trade so much, right? So as you see it, we got our entry, we got our stop loss, our target 1, our target 2, which it blew past both of these and came down and gained over 90 pips, right? Just off of this simple pattern using this proprietary software. Now, I want to show you guys real quick why I really agreed with this trade and went all in with this thing, right? So real quick, for those of you guys that aren't aware of, like liquidity and like market manipulation, right? I'm going to go ahead and break this thing down for you. So over here on the left-hand side, we have our drawing tools. Let me go ahead and grab a rectangle. And basic retail trading, they teach you guys support and resistance, right? So if you take a look at this, we have a nice little zone here of resistance where people were just selling like crazy. And what happens is every time somebody sells in these areas, what they'll end up doing is they're creating liquidity. So as somebody's coming in here and they're selling, they're putting their stop losses up in here, they're pushing back down to this support level, right? And what happens is over time, more of these end up stacking up. And what'll happen is these smart money traders, institutional traders, the banks, they can see that, right? They can see the liquidity sitting above here, and they understand the manipulation behind this, right? So what happens is typically when you're in a downtrend, as you see prices coming down, kind of consolidated for a while, what'll happen is you'll have this entire range, right? Even up in here, you have this entire supply zone here that has a bunch of liquidity sitting above it. So you'll see an impulse move up, and typically it ends up coming into a higher supply zone. So if we go ahead, we draw another zone here. We have a beautiful supply zone right here, right? And as you see, it just tapped into that, right? And what I'd look for is I look for price to go ahead, push up, grab that liquidity, right? It'll go ahead and mitigate that. And then what I would look for is price to push all the way down and grab all that buy side liquidity. So as you see here, we have another example. All of these areas where people just continue to buy. Guess what? There's all these stop losses down here, a bunch of money the bank understands that they need to go and grab. So when I look at the markets, I look for price to move from liquidity to liquidity. So in this example, I saw that price had pushed up, stopped out all these sellers, came into our nice little area here. And then once we went ahead, I got into the entry, called it out to the group, as you can see here, right? And then price just immediately just melted, came down, ended up grabbing some rejection here. This little move here, if you guys can see, is a nice little support area. And what this does is it gives the buyers like, oh, look, it's coming back one more time. And so you'll have a bunch of people putting a bunch of buy positions in here, creating even more liquidity down below all their stop losses. They'll print a handful of candles to make it think that it's going in their way, come back for another little retest. They buy in some more, and then the banks just completely melt it, right? So as you see here, we had a beautiful 90 pip move. This thing was called out in advance, right? As you can see in my group here, guys, this thing was called out in advance. There was nothing happening here. This isn't going off of, past that, anything like that. Like, this was a real trade called out real for my my free trading group, guys. In my opinion, this is probably the most savage software that I have access to. And you guys can see, like, you have the ability to jump into the markets when you're able to understand basic, market manipulation, understand the liquidity, understand, these order blocks and stuff, right? You're able to truly take advantage of these different tools, right? This proprietary software is insane. My hat is off to you. This thing is absolutely insane. Spit out a clean risk to reward. As you guys can see, this trader here is a 1 to 1.9. It went way further than that. We gained over 90 pips just on this trade alone. It gave us our entry. It gave us our stop loss. It didn't even come close to touching our stop loss. It went into a little bit of drawdown. My team and I got in around here, just above the entry, and we just rode that thing down. From the moment that we got in, there was zero drawdown. This thing pushed all the way down. Clean entry, clean chart, guys. These patterns are insane. So for me, my trading strategy, I'll take this. I'll look for, trading setups like this. I'll look for the manipulation. I'll look for the expansion. I'll look for price to come up into my my supply or my demand zone, grab that clean entry, and just ride that to the take profits. If you guys want access to this proprietary software, as always, you can always reach out to me on Instagram at Coach Carver. I'll drop all my links below. If you guys want to shoot me an email, you can hit me up at askcoachcarver@gmail.com. I appreciate your guys' time. Go ahead and get your hands on this amazing tool.